I for president, I for president.
And lie to you, and lean to me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
The more things change, the more things stay the same.
It was a creed written into the founding documents that declared the destiny of a nation. Yes, we can.
During their campaigns, presidential candidates promise us the world.
Thanks to television, I can talk to millions of people.
If I could sit down with you in your living room or around the kitchen table, here's what I'd say.
I say it is time to put conscience back in government.
I believe this country has a conscience.
When I look around, this is what I see.
This is a great country, but I think it could be a greater country.
A better America for all Americans.
We need a new direction, and I have a plan.
Read my plan.
I have a plan to end welfare as we know it.
I favor reformed welfare.
I want the individuals to meet their responsibilities.
It's time we got started.
And it's time for a change.
Because the question before us is the strength and the character of our country.
Government must draw its strength from the people.
The strength and the wisdom that I need must be drawn from you, the people.
You have a choice to make.
They cater to all sorts of demographics.
The world is in transition.
Les habla la esposa del senador John F. Kennedy.
Or this man, Governor Romney.
She was for the bridge to nowhere before she was against it.
And customize their message for their audience.
Is he serious when he did put it that way? Is he serious when he says he wouldn't put it that way? I just don't get it.
Ever notice what happens to Nixon when the political winds blow?
Kerry voted for the Iraq War, opposed it.
Again this year, he said, I just supported it to get it out of sight.
Supported it, and now opposes it again.
Which way will he blow next?
Whichever way the wind blows.
What are you complaining about? You get two policies for the price of one.
Which Ronald Reagan should we believe?
You honestly believe that Barry wants his sons and daughters involved in a war? Is that what you want for America?
What has Richard Nixon ever done for you?
How much do we really know about Michael Dukakis?
We can't afford another 4 years.
Nothing could be more frightening than 4 more years.
Michael Dukakis has opposed virtually every defense system we developed.
He would cut interceptor planes by 1/2.
In an increasingly dangerous world,
there is a bear in the woods.
And weakness attracts those who are waiting.
These people want to kill us.
Killer weapons in space.
They used to explode atomic bombs in the air.
Today, the threat is drugs,
which he labeled America's public enemy #1.
It is time for an honest look at the problem of order in the United States.
Juvenile delinquency, crime.
His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers.
George Bush has taken a furlough from the truth.
Bill Clinton is an unusually good liar.
Mitt Romney on Ohio jobs, wrong then, dishonest now.
Wrong in the past, wrong for our future.
Lower taxes, higher taxes, record employment, unemployment, peace, war, highest wages, lower pay, states' rights, centralization of government. Whoa, stop!
The McGovern bill would make 47% of the people in the United States eligible for welfare.
When he attacked 47% of Americans.
47%.
Don't look now, young man, but somebody has his hand in your pocket.
Hey, pal, how about a couple $100 billion? I'll pay you right back.
Whoa.
America is smiling again. It's morning again in America.
It's morning in Decaturville, Tennessee. Clinton going. For people. For a change.
A leader for a change.
The ticket for you, not just a few.
For the people.
It's time for a fresh start.
A fresh start for America.
But when it comes right down to it, how much power does the president have? Can they really make a difference?
The stakes are too high for you to stay home. Vote like your whole world depended on it.
Me? I like Ike.
It ain't an easy job being the president. People expect a lot out of you. On the one hand, we've always wanted a strong leader, coming from our heritage of having a king that could handle tough situations. At the same time, we're a dang democracy. We don't want the president overstepping his bounds, and after all, he's not above the law. This makes kind of a tricky deal. Here are some of the basic job descriptions listed in the Constitution. Insert joke/controversy here regarding President Obama. Interestingly enough as well to note that some folks, 1 in 5 of our presidents, have actually got the job not by being elected as president, but being the vice president when the president died, either by assassination or of old age. Heck, this guy, Gerald Ford, never even had to run for the vice presidency. He was appointed VP after Nixon's first vice president, Spiro Agnew, resigned, and then became the president when Nixon resigned. Speaking of old Slicky Dicky, let's look at the Constitution in terms of what it says about how to get rid of a president if Congress doesn't like him for whatever reason. So it's the House of Representatives that gets to impeach him, and then the Senate that has to then try him, meaning decide whether after he's been impeached if he's going to be removed from office or convicted of some crime and actually face trial. For example, let's look at the Bill Clinton impeachment trial. Now, of course, there's criticism of this impeachment process because the accusation that he was simply having an extramarital affair, is that really something that is anybody's business? After all, what president didn't do it before him? The real impeachment hearing was about obstruction of justice, meaning did the president lie under oath when he was asked if he had sexual relations with that woman. And so Kenneth Starr, a Republican, was brought in as the prosecution to try to convict or show guilt on the behalf of the president. And of course, all along the Democrats are crying, foul play here. This is political. You're just out to get our guy. So the question is that legal? Is it constitutional for a president to be impeached not necessarily for a crime that was committed, but just because Congress and a majority of Congress members feel like it, whatever party they happen to belong to? Well, let's look at some of the key things that it's been determined and agreed upon by Congress that should be evident for an impeachable offense to take place. First of all, it does not have to be a crime. It can just be something that is agreed upon is not appropriate of the president to be doing. It does have to be grave. So the example that if he was caught playing poker in the White House, now technically that is against the law, but come on, it's just a poker game. No pun intended there. I'm actually talking about the card game. It cannot be simply a disagreement of policy, which is why many actually criticize the impeachment process of Andrew Johnson. Now, we all know that Andrew Johnson was a total DB. He's the one that tried to reverse Reconstruction after the Civil War. But technically, the issue there of his impeachment was a policy disagreement. And so many actually say that that was not an impeachable offense. And lastly, for those who criticize the process as being political, well, it's inherently political. It's not necessarily based on a crime, so what is it based on? It's based on half or more of the House saying that they don't like what the president's doing. Wasn't that everything? So certainly it's political, and in the case of Bill Clinton, the House impeached him along party lines with a Republican majority, went to the Senate, where it was not as clear majority, and that in that case the Senate failed to get enough Democrats to convict him. So he stayed in office, and he's a little humiliated, but was able to continue his presidency. Now, the most important discussion of the presidency is what are the powers he has, or she. Hey, I have an idea. Let's break the powers of the presidency into 4 different sections. First, those that would protect national security, then those that would have to do with making laws, those that would have to do with executing those laws or running the country, and lastly, any that have to do with the courts. Firstly, the role of Chief of State. This would be someone that's very important as a figurehead, like the king or queen used to be, and make special appearances and preside over ceremonies, as we see here, and we will again in Thanksgiving time coming up, the annual pardon of the turkey. One turkey out of millions that doesn't have to be deep fried, baked, whatever you have. And so here he is pardoning that turkey, and is supposed to be someone who the people of America can look up to. The president is also the chief executive. I know what you're thinking. Mr. Fry, CIO, that's like a business guy, not a president. Well, think about it. A businessman, a CEO, runs the country, including all the employees he's got. Well, the president's got a whole bunch of those. He runs a whole bureaucracy, and he has to use lots of money from the budget to fund programs. That's a pretty dang important CEO type job, don't you think? Every good CEO has his board of executives that help him to run the company. Well, the president's got a board like that as well. It's called his cabinet. It's comprised of the heads of each department. He gets to choose them, and the Senate gets to approve them. This is Obama's cabinet right here. Pretty classy looking bunch, huh? Here's a healthy list of the cabinet departments. It's not like they were all just listed in the Constitution by the Founding Fathers. Don't you know the president could make a new department anytime he feels like it? And that's why you can see here in chronological order, the most recent department in your lifetime was Homeland Security. After 9/11, President Bush said, man, we got the CIA and the FBI and Department of Defense, and they're trying to coordinate terrorism, and they can't fight terrorism without talking to each other, so let's make some group that can connect them all called Homeland Security. Yeah, maybe they've gone a little too far with the whole aerial drones in America and so forth, but anyhow, that's a cabinet department. You guys remember in the movie X-Men, there's the school where all the folks with their mutant powers come together, young and old, to be able to fight evil. Well, the president has an office near him. It's kind of like that school. It's called the EEOB, which stands for the Eisenhower Executive Office Building. And there you'll find a bunch of offices and organizations that are supposed to be able to help the president do his work. And they have a whole lot of power. Within this office building, or as the first group is the National Security Council. It consists of the Commander-in-Chief, who is the President, and the leaders of all the armed forces and some other military policy advisors. And they meet to make important decisions like whether or not to go to war, stuff like that. The Council of Economic Advisors is there to, advise the President on the state of the economy, fluctuations, predictions on whether the market's going to go up or down, things like that. And then the Office of Management and Budget, which helps the president put together his budget proposal for each fiscal year to send to Congress and hopefully get them to agree with it and pass it. So let's say the president submits a budget to Congress and they pass it. It's going to land on his desk again where he can sign it or not sign it. He can veto it. Or he could use a more stealth type of veto, which is a pocket veto, meaning he just ignores the budget or the bill for 10 days or more, and it kind of has to go back and get redone and submitted again. Some presidents are more veto happy than others, and you can see also that there are vetoes that are overridden. 2/3 majority in the House and Senate can override a president's veto and get something passed. And so if you look at President Ford, he was obviously less popular with Congress than other presidents would be because they obviously weren't on the same page.